wonderful. You know, it seems that life is imitating art as people over 40 are beginning to have more children.
Yes, it seems to be happening. Would you want to be a father at this stage in your life?
Not now. I think I'm a little past that.
I'd like to be a grandfather, and my son is married.
Wonderful.
I like that.
Yeah, you'll love
You
that.
come visit the kids, and then when it's time to
I've
just
done
go.
that 4 times already.
You've been really?
Yeah.
Really?
I have a daughter who married in her teens, as we did, right in her first year of college, and had 4 little stair steps.
Oh boy!
And they're gorgeous. 2 boys and 2 girls,
and you can always leave when that's dinner's over.
That's right.
You don't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do the stuff.
That's the part that would bury me right now. I don't think I could handle that.
No, it'd be nice, but it'd be tough, awfully tough.
Your character has a passion for college sweatshirts. How did that all start?
Well, actually, it only started as a kind of a character trait for Henry Rush.
We want to give him some characteristics.
Some pizzazz.
Yeah, and we didn't want to lock ourselves into any one specific type of thing. So it was more or less an accident. I asked for something to give him a hobby, give him something.
The schools around the country must be going.
We have tremendous response from colleges. Some requests from from the presidents of the colleges, asking for us to wear their colors, and we try to do that. We're backlogged now, about 200 sweatshirts. I don't know how many we've already worn. There was one day. What I did one day. In fact, I did this twice. We accumulated, say, 75 sweatshirts. After a shoot one day, I would have to stay, and just one after another for the photographer, ripping them off and smiling into the camera. And to send these things back, to the various colleges.
It creates a great deal of interest in
Not
the
only
show.
interest, but I'm happy to do it because it perpetuates academia and learning. And from that standpoint, I think it's valid. But it wasn't done as a gimmick. It wasn't done for any other reason but to give him a habit, rather a hobby.
Yeah. The Mary Tyler Moore Show found really its strength in a fine ensemble cast where everyone was a star. Did you at any time ever have any doubts about starring in your own series after that show? When did you know, in other words, that you had caught on?
Well, as you are a professional, and as all professionals are, when you endeavor some new thing, when you take a stab at something, you always go in with the confidence and a knowledgeability that's going to succeed. You have to have that positive thought. Otherwise, you're defeating yourself by attempting it. So we all thought that we would be a hit from very day one. Yeah. And I more than others, because I'm an eternal optimist anyway about anything and everything. And I took bets with everybody. It would go at least 5 years with the Mary Show.
Did you really?
Sure, and I won.
5 years.
Most of the people I bet with were peripherally involved in the show.
But the odds against something
I know.
like that
I didn't even want to think
are
about
horrendous.
it. They're unimaginable odds today to succeed in the series. Not only is the brass ring elusive, but it doesn't even exist.
But when did you know you, Ted, had no longer to go home and put your head on the pillow and worry about, your future and all?
Well, I've been very fortunate, getting back to my philosophy about myself. I've always felt that I had an ability to succeed in this business. I had an inner confidence, blind though it may have been at times, and positiveness about myself. Plus, Mike, I did it objectively. I didn't just go into this business blindly. I prepared myself to compete with the best in the business.
And because nothing is sadder than when it happens to you, when you're at a very tender age and you think, boy, it's all going to be like a downhill sleigh ride now. And I must say that happened to me very early in life. I was 19 years old. I had the best singing job in the country and had the #1 and the #3 record on the charts. And I left thinking I'd go out on my own and take over the world. And nobody called. I mean, it was...
Yeah. It's a rude awakening and
a lesson that was.
But necessary.
But I'm glad because those scars were very necessary.
Defeats are wonderful if you can handle them, because it gives you strength and character and the knowledgeability that you're fallible and that you're not the only gifted and talented person in the world. There are other people that have an equal amount and possibly more in some areas.
How about the shadow of Ted Baxter, did that, in the days following the Mary Tyler Moore show, did that
Yeah, I
bother
think
you a little bit?
it didn't bother me. I love Ted Baxter, and I'll never lose him, you know what I'm saying? But, hey, hi, guy. How you doing? But I love doing Ted, and every once in a while I'll pull him out of the bag. As a matter of fact, I use some segments of his perverse humor in the Henry Rush character. I am tickled to have Ted Baxter in my hip pocket with his...
Ted Baxter is kind of a saving thing, a saving factor for you, because whenever you're in trouble,
It comes out.
yeah,
Oh, sure.
It's
Absolutely.
like it's like everybody has those things when audiences are terrible. You've got a surefire thing that you can always pull out that you know is going to work because it's worked for you over the years, and it's great.
It's been heaven sent. You know what extremes entertainers go through, especially comedians, to get that first laugh. You know, many furrowed brows and much
I did
aging.
straight for a comedian, and you know, when the Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis thing was the thing, they said the trend. All of a sudden, one guy who sang and did straight, and the other guy was a comedian. It was a trend for guys like that to get together, and I remember those first 3 minutes, which seemed like 3 hours. We have to break the ice and get a laugh and get off the ground.
Oh, I've got to say something to you. I forgot. I had lunch today with an old friend of yours, and he's very upset with you because he's tried to call you several times, and he hasn't gotten to you, and he thinks maybe you've gone Hollywood.
Burt Reynolds still bothering me again with those calls?
No, someone bigger.
Really? Who was it?
Sure. Well, not popularity-wise,
Are you
but
serious?
physically.
Physically big.
Alex Dreyer.
You had lunch with Alex
Alex today, yeah. He looks
Oh.
marvelous.
He's in town because he lives in Palm
He
Springs.
comes up rarely because he hates to come into the city. He loves
wants
it so
to hear
much.
from me. He will
wants to hear from you.
tonight. I will call him tonight.
Alex Dreyer, please do. And I said, I promise
he on
I
his
would.
way
He
back
picked up
home?
the tab.
Was he on his way back home?
He had some business to conduct in Hollywood.
I not only will say publicly on the air that I will call him, but I want him to do this show. Fascinating.
He would be marvelous
interesting
raconteur.
gentleman.
Man's traveled. He's one of the most brilliant people I've ever met.
The most brilliant I know.
Knowledgeable. He has one of those photographic minds.
Yeah.
He never forgets anything.
And a voice that the plaster.
And now a word from Santa Fe.
Alex Dreyer, and he's got style. The man has
yeah.
style.
You know, recently critics have complained about the lack of family life depicted on primetime television. How do you feel about that, Ted?
What was that question again, Mike?
They complained about the fact that there's a lack of family life depicted on primetime television.
Who complained?
The critics.
I want names. Oh.
Oh, no, please. I have special names for some of those folks.
Well, I think they're full of baloney, for the most part.
You are right so far, but...
Hey, I don't knock critics. I will be the first to admit that I'm troubled and upset when I get a bad rap. And anybody who says they don't, you know...
Don't you love the guys who say, I never read those reviews? Come on.
Why do they do that?
Come on. You're only human.
I mean, we're such egomaniacs.
And if you don't read it, 9 million people call you and tell you about it, right?
Of course.
So they certainly hear about it.
But I haven't heard that statement made, that there's a lack of family.
Lack of family. The way family life is depicted.
Oh, honestly.
Not believable.
I see. Well, it's rather a general statement to make. What is family life? And there are similarities, but we also have to
over the years, they either depicted it as the father being an absolute boob. You know, I mean...
You know what I resent more than anything, and I'm sure you do too? And I wish they would take it upon themselves to first enumerate the parameters and restraints that are placed upon those of us who have to perform and write and be involved in commercial television.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we have to be censored because the bottom line is the dollar. The dollar is measured by the numbers.
Exactly.
So you have
Homes reached.
You have to reach as many people as you possibly can. Otherwise, you're off the air.
Which means the uppermost in your mind is mass appeal.
Yes, if they would say First of all, the people have to do these things to stay in business, to keep their jobs. They have to confine and restrain themselves within the parameters of the censorship, the limitations, not appealing to certain groups or maligning ethnicity in any way. There are so many organizations that are ready to chop your head off if you say something naughty. So you have an unlimited number of people who are ready to shoot you down.
Sure.
You have to live within that and still be entertaining. And now that is a monumental chore, and I resent the second-class citizenry that has been given to sitcom people. They are the most talented, the most maligned people in the business.
Oh, sure.
They work the hardest. What we do is the toughest in the world. It's easy to do the dramatic things. You don't have to be a good actor to do that. You really don't. But a good comic actor, a good situation comedy person can do drama as well.
Yeah.
In fact, better.
In fact, he's a good friend of mine, the great Jackie Gleason, once said, sketch comedy, which in a sense is what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a sense is what you do, is very, very special, and there are very few people who do it well.
Very few are equipped to do it.
Please stay, Ted, for our next guest.
I'm not through talking at this minute.
Oh, you're not?
I have something else I want to say.
Well, we're going to cut away, and you can just keep going, okay?
All right, because I feel this need.
We'll be right back
Now, the way I
with
look
Ted
at it,
Reed,
if those
formerly of
critics would
WKRP
only
in
look
Cincinnati.
at the things that
And Ted's gonna
those
be
of
here.
us who are individuals